To me, and I'm somebody who I might as well just say it, they've tried to cancel me a few times on Twitter. Somehow I'm still here. To me, cancel culture and that social media opprobrium, it is like the... it's like the public stocks in the town square. They come for you with like digital pitchforks, and it is an online mob. And yes, there are at times people have sort of societal disgust as a group about the actions of one person. But cancel culture isn't really about that. If you see how much people enjoy the cancel culture thing, if you see how much people who take part, and if you see how much people jump on a bandwagon, and you see the comments that they're making, they don't even really know what anyone is talking about, so, but they're just joining in. It's like they get the whiff of blood. It's like a blood sport. They get the whiff of blood in the nostrils, and they go for it. There's something kind of savage, I think, in it, and I think it's part of a kind of a dark desire. It always reminds me of the guillotine in the French Revolution, that they sit there and it seems that there are, if you look at even Irish Twitter, there are some grand accusers on there, and then one by one their heads roll as well.
The Robespierres of the 21st century.
I do actually see them as the Robespierres, but the grand accusers often have feet of clay themselves, and there's something dark and odious and kind of dank in it. And I don't believe, for those of you who say, oh, it's not cancel culture, it's just consequences. No, because there's something more than that. It isn't only about consequences for someone's behaviour. And actually their behaviour is often that they said the wrong word, or they mangled a point, or they did whatever. Nobody... We're not talking about anyone killing anybody, what people are cancelled for. It's always fairly benign stuff, really. But they are savaged, and it comes from a desire and an instinct to tear someone down and destroy them. And people enjoy doing it. And you can see, and if people are glad that they've been offended by you because it gives them an opportunity to attack you, there's something dark in that.
Well, it's a blood sport, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. You're really... By the way, I think there's a pushback against cancel culture. I have optimism around this, because I think that dark, nasty, bitchy thing that is all sanctimonious, but it's actually hate masquerading as virtue. I think there's a bigger pushback against that now than there was, and people are no longer as willing to see people cancelled.
I'm not sure I share your optimism.
But you're interested because you're not on social media.
I don't do social media. I don't engage in it. I don't want to put myself in the way of it, to be quite honest. And look, I see myself as obviously I'm a journalist, and I want to, particularly on the show, I want to be free to speak my mind, not that it has to be particularly controversial, but speak my mind. And I feel if I'm reading what people are saying in social media about what I'm saying, then you start second guessing yourself.
They'd get into your head.
Yeah, even if, to a large extent it's water off a duck's back, but I think there's a fear you do second guess. And I worry, I think a lot of journalists are overly concerned about what social media think.
There's some who play to that choir, actually.
I think so. I do think so, and I think that's dangerous. I don't share your optimism that things are getting better. I think it will always be with us. I think
there is a pushback against cancel culture, because I think people have seen it for what it is. Now, there's still people who still enjoy doing it.
The mob is still baying.
The mob is still baying, but there's a second mob on there kind of going, we don't like what you're doing.